Beautiful daffodils and tulips and hyacinths are some of my favorite signs of springs. And if you enjoy them, it's time to start thinking about getting those in your garden for next spring's bloom season. You'll want to purchase the bulbs soon because the nurseries sell out of the best quality bulbs fairly quickly, but you'll want to wait a little bit to plant them. I usually plant when the nights are under 50 degrees for several weeks, but get your bulbs in by the end of December because they need several weeks of cold to produce blooms. If you're purchasing tulips and hyacinths, they need to be stored in the refrigerator for 6 to 8 weeks, so it's time to get those purchased in the refrigerator now. Even narcissus that I'm using for forcing indoors, I keep in the refrigerator for about 3 weeks before planting them up in pots. Now, better quality bulbs are going to give you a lot more blooms. Larger bulbs produce more blooms. Look for bulbs that don't have soft spots, that aren't dry. They should be very firm to the touch with no mildew or mold. And plant them in full sun or early spring shade. And always plant pointed side up. Now, things like pecan trees will leaf out late, so that allows you to plant the bulbs under those trees before they leaf out and provide too much shade. You can use a dibber or a bulb planter. These are traditional bulb planting tools, but in our Texas soils, I find that a trowel just really works best unless you've got really nice chocolate loam that these tools will work well in. I do like to plant in clumps. Groups of 5 or more are going to give you best displays rather than having one bulb here and there throughout the garden. Amend your soil with compost and add some fertilizer for bulbs or just a blooming plant fertilizer. Now in Texas, we'll plant the bulbs twice the depth, not 3 times the depth that's usually recommended. Bulbs will tend to rot if they're planted too deeply. And mark the location where you plant them so you don't forget and put something else on top of them. It is important to allow the foliage of the bulbs to yellow and die naturally after the blooms finish, so you can interplant them with perennials like daylilies or penstemons or betony to hide the unsightly foliage until it's time to trim it back, because that foliage is feeding the bulb for next year's blooms. Tulips are only going to bloom once unless you get some of the Clusiana or other type bulbs that do repeat here. After several years, you'll want to divide the bulbs for best bloom after the foliage fades. These are some bulbs that I dug up last year after the spring. I didn't have time to replant them, so I just stored them in a cool, dry place. And I could actually divide these bulbs, but with this narcissus bulb, I'm going to get a bloom spike, probably 2 bloom spikes out of this, and then each of these will provide a bloom spike. These less expensive bulbs, I'll probably only get 1 small bloom out of them. So it does pay to get quality. I'd rather buy 10 really good quality bulbs than buy a bag of 50 of something that's not going to give me a great looking bloom season. So there are lots of bulbs that do well here and many that will perennialize. Some of them will give you one-time bloom and then they don't come back. So over the years, I've compiled a list of bulbs that I do like and that grow and provide me bulbs to share with my friends. So you can check our Central Texas Gardener website for a list of my favorite bulbs for the Central Texas area. For Backyard Basics, I'm Trisha Shirey. Thanks for joining us.